Alright you guys, and welcome to a brand new video. This is Tornadoes Man, and today I'm going to be allowing my AI reader to read the full entire document of tornadoes of 2023. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the video.
This is a list of notable tornadoes and tornado outbreaks worldwide in 2023. Strong, destructive tornadoes form most frequently in the United States, Argentina, Brazil, Bangladesh and East India, but can occur almost anywhere. Tornadoes develop occasionally in southern Canada during the Northern Hemisphere's summer, and at other times of the year across Europe, Asia, Argentina, Australia and New Zealand. They are often accompanied by other forms of severe weather, including thunderstorms, strong winds, and large hail. Worldwide, 116 tornado-related deaths were confirmed, 83 in the United States, 12 in China, 9 in Indonesia, 8 in Myanmar, 3 in Turkey, and 1 in Saudi Arabia. January had the third highest number of tornado watches and confirmed tornadoes of any January on record in the United States. 1. The first 2 months of the year had the fourth highest number of confirmed tornadoes for the first 59 days of any year on record. 2. The year was deadlier than average, with a number of fatal tornadoes. By April 5, 63 tornado-related deaths were recorded in the United States. This was almost 3 times higher than 2022's total of 23 fatalities, approaching the annual average of roughly 70 deaths. 3. Below-average tornadic activity occurred in May, but active weather patterns spawned damaging tornado outbreaks throughout the summer and 12 more people died. Damaging tornadoes also affected parts of Canada during that time, including the country's first violent tornado since 2018. Tornadic activity decreased dramatically in September, and was almost non-existent during much of the autumn. Most Atlantic tropical cyclones missed the United States during the peak of hurricane season, with few early-season frontal systems. An intense outbreak in December produced 18 tornadoes, causing 7 fatalities. 4. A significant tornado outbreak impacted the southeastern United States, with several strong and long-tracked tornadoes touching down and causing a number of fatalities. The SPC issued an enhanced risk of severe weather on January 12, including a 10% risk area for tornadoes. Multiple supercell thunderstorms formed in the threat area later that day, and significant tornadoes began touching down. The small towns of Amel, Utah, and Mavico, Alabama, were impacted by EF2 tornadoes, with extensive damage. A large, high-end EF2 tornado caused severe structural damage in Selma, Alabama. Many homes and businesses sustained major damage in Selma, and a daycare with 70 children and workers was destroyed. Only one minor injury occurred inside. The storm that produced the Selma tornado later produced a long-tracked EF3 tornado that prompted tornado emergencies for Autauga, Elmore, Chilton, Coosa, and northern Tallapoosa counties. 21. The tornado caused 7 fatalities in the Old Kingston community of Autauga County as it obliterated mobile homes, tossed vehicles and caused massive timber damage. 22. Strong tornadoes which were spawned by the Selma supercell also impacted parts of Georgia, including an EF2 tornado that inflicted major damage to homes and industrial buildings in LaGrange. A large EF3 tornado struck western Griffin and Experiment, severely damaging or destroying homes and businesses and flipping cars. This tornado was accompanied by 3 other tornadoes at the beginning of its track near Griffin, including a high-end EF2 tornado that caused severe damage to homes and trees. Another high-end EF2 tornado also caused significant damage in Jenkinsburg and near Jackson Lake, resulting in one fatality when a tree fell on a car, along with an indirect fatality the following day when a falling tree limb fell on a transportation worker who was working to restore power, knocking him out of his bucket truck. 23. A high-end EF1 tornado touched down in the Atlanta suburb of Mableton, damaging an industrial business and downing many trees, some of which fell on homes. Other weak tornadoes were confirmed in parts of Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and the Carolinas. The outbreak produced 42 tornadoes, killed 8 people, and injured at least 53 others. 24. The Storm Prediction Center issued an enhanced risk for much of the Gulf Coast region on January 24, including a 10% risk area for tornadoes. A small but significant tornado outbreak impacted the southern United States throughout the day, primarily from southeast Texas to southern Louisiana. Multiple strong tornadoes were confirmed, which included a large and destructive low-end EF3 tornado that moved through the southeastern sections of the Houston metropolitan area, impacting the suburbs of Pasadena and Deer Park. 25. This prompted the issuance of a tornado emergency, the first ever issued by the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Houston. 26. 27. The intense, rain-wrapped tornado inflicted major structural damage to many homes, apartment buildings, churches and businesses, and downed many trees and power lines. Cars were thrown and mangled, a metal building was destroyed, a senior center sustained major damage, and metal truss electrical transmission towers were blown to the ground. There were no fatalities as a result of the EF3 Houston metro tornado, although a few minor injuries were reported. The tornado caused $6.6 million in damage. 28. 29. The storm also produced 2 EF0 tornadoes which caused minor damage in the Houston suburbs of Siena and Pearland before spawning the EF3 tornado. Elsewhere, a brief EF2 tornado unroofed a house and destroyed a barn near Nome. 3 people were injured by another EF2 tornado that touched down near Orangefield before striking the outskirts of Orange, causing major damage to mobile homes, houses, and outbuildings before crossing into Louisiana and inflicting additional severe damage to a number of structures north of Vinton. Several metal buildings were also damaged, and many large trees were snapped or uprooted by this tornado. In Louisiana, another EF2 tornado struck the small community of Gaytine, where houses had their roofs torn off, a mobile home was destroyed, a metal building was heavily damaged, and a fifth-wheel RV trailer was flipped. In Ventris, 3 people were injured by an EF1 tornado that destroyed a few mobile homes. 30. 3 weak tornadoes touched down in Florida on January 25 before the outbreak ended, and a total of 15 tornadoes were confirmed. The storms also produced flash flooding, and a one-day rainfall record of 4.05 in 103 was set in Houston. 31. Flash flooding temporarily closed Shish 99. 32. The Storm Prediction Center issued an enhanced risk advisory for parts of the southeastern United States and the Ohio Valley on February 16, including a 10% risk area for tornadoes in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. Severe thunderstorms developed later that day which produced damaging winds, large hail and several tornadoes, 2 of which were strong. An EF2 tornado near Pindle, Arkansas destroyed barns, pushed a house off its foundation, snapped trees, and injured 2 people. 3. Another EF2 tornado injured 1 person, snapped many trees, and knocked over several metal truss electrical transmission towers near Ripley, Mississippi, before weakening and striking the north edge of town, where several homes and businesses had minor damage. An EF1 tornado near Wesson, Mississippi, rolled and destroyed a mobile home and damaged 2 other residences. An EF1 tornado near Raymer, Tennessee, inflicted heavy roof damage on a home and destroyed 2 garages, and another EF1 tornado near Lewisburg damaged homes, destroyed barns and outbuildings, and downed trees. An EF1 tornado caused considerable damage as it moved through southern LaGrange, Georgia on February 17, near where a damaging EF2 tornado had struck the previous month. Many trees were snapped or uprooted in LaGrange, and homes and businesses sustained roof and window damage. A total of 13 tornadoes were confirmed. In addition to tornadoes, straight-line winds from the system toppled a tree on the Northwestern University campus, injuring 4 people. 34. Flooding caused by the storms killed 2 people, 1 in Kentucky and 1 in West Virginia. 35. Flooding closed I-65 near Coleman, Alabama. 36. A large storm system produced a wide range of significant weather events, ranging from heavy snow to tornadoes, across a large area of the United States on February 26. The Storm Prediction Center issued a moderate risk for west central Oklahoma, with a 45% risk area for damaging winds. The outlook included a 10% risk area for tornadoes. An enhanced risk also extended from the Texas Panhandle to southwestern Missouri. Aided by strong wind shear, a squall line of severe thunderstorms with damaging straight-line winds and multiple embedded tornadoes formed and moved through the risk area later that night. A high-end EF2 tornado destroyed manufactured homes, tossed vehicles, and killed 1 person as it moved through the outskirts of Cheyenne, Oklahoma, injuring 3 people. 37. The line of storms produced 5 tornadoes that impacted areas in and around the Oklahoma City metropolitan area, 2 of which were strong. They included a high-end EF2 tornado that struck southeastern Norman, severely damaging homes and businesses, destroying self-storage units, overturning cars, and injuring 12 people. Another high-end EF2 tornado significantly damaged homes and other structures near Shawnee. Damaging straight-line winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour, 110–130 kilometers per hour, were widely reported, with locally higher gusts which included 114 mile per hour, 183 kilometers per hour, in Memphis, Texas. 38. 39. Tornadic activity continued the next day in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio as the system pushed east. Several weak tornadoes occurred, including a high-end EF1 tornado that touched down in Jacksonburg, Ohio, before it passed near Middletown, considerably damaging several homes, barns, and trees. 32 tornadoes were confirmed, with 1 tornado-related fatality. Oklahoma's 12 tornadoes set a February state record. 12 non-tornado-related fatalities occurred as a result of the storm system. 40. A very large, historic, deadly tornado outbreak impacted large portions of the Midwestern, Southern, and Eastern United States. A tornado-driven high risk was issued for 2 areas in the Mississippi Valley on the morning of March 31, the first high-risk issuance since March 25, 2021. The first high-risk area covered southeastern Iowa, northwestern Illinois, and far northeastern Missouri, while the second included eastern Arkansas, southwestern Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. That afternoon in the area around the southern high-risk area, a long-tracked high-end EF3 wedge tornado passed through the Little Rock, Arkansas metro area, prompting a tornado emergency as it significantly damaged or destroyed hundreds of homes, apartments, businesses, and other structures, caused an indirect fatality, and injured 54 people. Several other large, long-tracked tornadoes touched down that afternoon and evening, including an EF3 tornado that killed 4 people in Wynne, Arkansas, and another EF3 tornado that killed a person in Covington, Tennessee, both of which were prompted tornado emergencies. Further to the north in the northern high-risk area, an intense, high-end EF3 tornado later caused severe damage near Martinsburg, Iowa, and the same storm produced a violent, low-end EF4 tornado that destroyed multiple homes near Keota. The Iowa towns of Coralville, Hills, Minneapolis, and Charlotte, as well as Sherman and Geneseo, Illinois, were impacted by EF2 tornadoes. An EF1 tornado that struck Belvedere collapsed the roof of the Apollo Theater, which was hosting a sold-out concert, causing the roof to collapse. 1 person was killed inside the theater, and over 40 others were injured. 52. Between the 2 high-risk areas in the much larger moderate risk, another tornado emergency prompting, destructive EF3 tornado killed 6 people in and around Robinson, Illinois and Sullivan, Indiana. The same cell continued northeastward, producing another EF3 tornado that destroyed homes, tossed cars and farm machinery, and killed 2 people near Spencer. It later spawned yet another EF3 tornado which struck Whiteland, destroying a warehouse and many homes. 53. That night, another destructive, long-tracked EF3 tornado killed 9 people in McNairy County, Tennessee, impacting the outskirts of Bethel Springs and Adamsville. Very early the next morning on April 1st, a high-end EF3 tornado north of Hazel Green, Alabama, destroyed homes and killed 1 person.
David, Mama calling.
4:54. Full citation needed. 55, 56. More severe weather occurred later that day along the eastern Great Lakes and East Coast, producing widespread damaging winds, isolated hail, and tornadoes. This included a destructive EF3 tornado that killed 1 person in Sussex County, Delaware. The tornado was the largest ever recorded in Delaware, as well as the second killer tornado and the second tornado rated F3 or EF3 in the state since reliable records began in 1950. 4, 57, 58, 59, 7 tornadoes also touched down in New Jersey, 3 of which were EF2. 4, 57, in all, the outbreak produced 146 tornadoes, killed 26 people, plus 1 more person indirectly, and injured at least 218 others. 6 non-tornadic deaths also occurred during the outbreak. 60.
In this video, the proper technique for subcutaneous injections will be demonstrated. In order to begin, you will need the drug order in the patient's medical chart. Confirm that you are qualified to deliver the ordered medication, as scope of practice.
April.
Assistance varies from state to state.
April 4 to 5, United States.
Alcohol swabs, sterile 2x2 gauze squares or cotton balls, the container of the drug ordered, a disposable needle and syringe of the appropriate size.
Another severe weather and tornado outbreak affected the Midwest, the Mississippi Valley, and the Great Lakes in early April. A moderate risk was issued by the SPC for parts of Illinois and Iowa on April 4th, with another moderate risk for parts of Arkansas and Missouri. A 15% risk area for tornadoes was in place for both moderate risk areas. Multiple tornadoes touched down during the afternoon and evening, including 2 EF1 tornadoes that touched down in the Quad Cities metro area, downing trees and damaging the roofs of homes in Rock Island and Moline, Illinois. Near Pleasantville, Iowa, a narrow high-end EF1 tornado which damaged homes and outbuildings was caught on video by many storm chasers. The outbreak's most intense tornado was a large, high-end EF3 which destroyed homes and injured 4 people near Lewistown, Illinois, before causing significant damage in Bryant. Multiple storm chasers were directly impacted by the tornado and had their vehicles rolled, though they were not injured. 61, 62, 63, 64. A brief EF2 tornado ripped the roof off a gas station in Kelowna, and another EF2 tornado destroyed outbuildings and uplifted the roof of a house near Geneseo. A high-end EF1 tornado also struck Table Grove and damaged homes, garages, and trees. A high-end EF2 tornado moved through Grassy and Glen Allen, Missouri during the early morning hours of April 5, causing severe damage. Multiple homes had their roofs torn off, and some sustained loss of exterior walls. Outbuildings and mobile homes were also completely destroyed by the tornado, with 5 people killed in one of the mobile homes. 65, 66, 67. This was the deadliest tornado in Missouri since the 2011 Joplin tornado. 68. Weak tornadoes continued to touch down across parts of the Ohio Valley later that day, including 3 EF1 tornadoes that caused considerable damage in the Louisville metro area. One reached high-end EF1 strength and unroofed an apartment building in the Pleasure Ridge Park neighborhood. The other 2 tornadoes damaged warehouses and businesses in the suburb of Watterson Park, one of which damaged the Yum! Brands headquarters. A non-tornadic fatality occurred in Louisville when a man walking his dog was killed by a falling tree. 69. Farther east, an EF0 tornado caused minor damage in Pleasantville, Ohio. The Cincinnati Reds, Chicago Cubs baseball game was postponed by the storms. 70, and Chicago O'Hare International Airport had a ground stop. 71. Anticipated severe weather in the eastern United States on April 6 resulted in the New York Mets, Baltimore Orioles, and Philadelphia Phillies postponing their home opening games. 72, 73, 74, 5 tornado-related fatalities and 27 tornadoes were confirmed, in addition to the non-tornadic fatality. The National Centers for Environmental Information reported that the storm system caused $2.2 billion, 2023 United States dollars, in damage. 75. A line of severe storms pushed through southern Louisiana early on May 6, producing damaging winds. One low-end EF1 tornado near Morse damaged several homes, destroyed outbuildings, and injured 1 person. 98. Later that day, a severe weather outbreak impacted the central United States. Multiple tornadoes touched down in Minnesota and South Dakota. All were weak and remained over open country, causing no damage. A supercell thunderstorm produced multiple tornadoes in Missouri, including one high-end EF0 tornado that damaged the roofs of several homes and a church in Trenton, and a high-end EF2 tornado north of Linneus that damaged or destroyed several homes and outbuildings. An EF1 tornado struck the Indiana University Southeast campus in New Albany, Indiana the next morning, downing trees, damaging apartment buildings, and injuring 2 people. An EF0 tornado caused minor damage to homes and trees in Georgetown. 499. An EF1 tornado moved through parts of Louisville, Kentucky and the suburb of Shively, snapping many trees and downing large limbs. In Shelbyville, a brief EF0 tornado damaged a gas station and a Stanley Black & Decker plant. In Iowa, an EF1 tornado damaged large outbuildings, trees, and a batting cage in West Liberty. A Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert in Nashville was delayed for a number of hours due to severe storms in the area. 100. In all, 24 tornadoes were confirmed, and damage from the outbreak totaled $1.1 billion. 75. Between May 10 and May 13, a tornado outbreak affected the Great Plains. Multiple weak tornadoes touched down in Colorado on May 10, including an EF1 tornado that unroofed a cabin near Woodrow. 2 EFU tornadoes that caused no damage were confirmed in Arkansas and Kansas. On May 11, the SPC issued an enhanced risk for the central Great Plains and a slight risk for part of the Gulf Coast, and numerous weak tornadoes touched down in both areas. 101. an EF1 tornado downed trees and damaged buildings in Shreveport, Louisiana, and a high-end EF1 multiple vortex tornado caused considerable damage to school buildings, outbuildings, homes, and power poles in Weston, Kansas. In Oklahoma, a high-end EF1 tornado heavily damaged homes and destroyed outbuildings near Cole before it weakened and caused minor tree and roof shingle damage in Goldsby. Another EF1 tornado struck Noble, where a donut shop had its roof blown off and other businesses had severe roof damage. 4. Denver had its 8th wettest day on record, and hail forced a ground stop at Denver International Airport. 102. Amtrak's northbound Heartland Flyer was delayed for almost 3 hours that day due to severe weather warnings north of the Purcell, Oklahoma station. 103. 104. Another enhanced risk was issued on May 12 for Nebraska, where multiple tornadoes occurred. They included 2 large EF2 tornadoes that passed near Wheeling and Lyons, destroying numerous barns, garages, grain bins, and farm buildings and damaging several homes. The tornadoes also snapped many power poles, downed numerous trees, and damaged farming equipment. The Lyons tornado caused 2 injuries. A low-end EF2 tornado near North Bend damaged or destroyed grain bins and outbuildings, flipped irrigation pivot sprinklers, and shifted a house slightly off its foundation. A narrow EF2 tornado caused severe tree damage near Chambers, including some debarking. 4. 105. 106. A high-end EF1 tornado struck Anselmo, where a shed was flipped, many trees were snapped, and tree branches were driven into building exteriors. A large, multiple vortex wedge tornado near Greeley and Spalding flipped and bent irrigation pivots, blew out the windows of 2 vehicles, scoured gravel off a dirt road, and damaged trees and power poles. It was rated high-end EF1, although storm chaser and meteorologist Reed Timmer recorded a 163 mph, 262 km/h, wind gust as it passed over his SRV Dominator storm research vehicle, indicating that it was capable of producing high-end EF3 damage. 107. Other tornadoes touched down in Oklahoma and Kansas, including a low-end EF2 tornado near Hamlin, Kansas that snapped trees, destroyed an outbuilding, heavily damaged a trailer, and damaged a house. 4. A high-end EF1 tornado struck Laguna Heights, Texas early on the morning of May 13, where numerous poorly built mobile homes were heavily damaged or destroyed, and a man inside one of them was killed. Businesses and industrial buildings in Laguna Heights also sustained major damage, and 11 people were injured. 108. 109. More tornadoes touched down later that afternoon across Iowa, with others in Illinois, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. All were weak, causing little or no damage. 110. 111. Basements and roads were flooded in Lawrence and Knoxville, Iowa, as rainfall neared 7 in 180 in parts of the state. 112. 113. The threat of tornadoes across Iowa prompted Donald Trump to cancel outdoor rallies. 114. In all, 94 tornadoes were confirmed, along with 1 tornado-related fatality, and $2.4 billion in damage. 75.
After a full dose of the drug has been injected,
Multiple rounds of severe thunderstorms and strong tornadoes impacted a large portion of the South, the Midwest, and the Great Plains in mid-June. The unusual outbreak sequence produced strong tornadoes in the Deep South, a region that rarely sees significant tornado activity late in the season except for tornadoes spawned by tropical cyclones. On June 14, the SPC issued a moderate risk for parts of the southern United States, including a 10% risk area for tornadoes. A number of severe thunderstorm and tornado watches were issued from the Ark-La-Tex region to northern Florida, and numerous supercells formed later that day. 1:15, a large EF2 tornado moved between Blakely and Arlington, Georgia, significantly damaging trees, outbuildings, and several homes. 1:16, two EF1 tornadoes caused considerable damage in Abbeville and Eufaula, Alabama, and an EF2 tornado severely damaged an industrial building and flipped cars in Cass County, Texas. 117, there were over 300 reports of large hail and damaging winds, including wind gusts reaching 82 miles per hour, 132 kilometers per hour, and hail up to 5 inches, 13 centimeters, in diameter in Mississippi. 118, on June 15, the SPC issued a moderate risk of severe weather across much of Oklahoma, a small part of Texas, and Kansas. This included a 45% risk area for large hail and damaging winds, and a 10% risk area for tornadoes in the eastern Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, along with southwestern Oklahoma. 119. That afternoon, rounds of intense supercells formed across the region and pushed eastward. One produced a destructive EF3 tornado that tracked through Perryton, Texas, which inflicted major damage to brick buildings in the downtown area, destroyed many homes, vehicles, and industrial buildings, killed 3 people, and injured at least 100 others. 120, 121. An EF2 tornado near Loco, Oklahoma, damaged or destroyed several homes, destroyed outbuildings, and snapped many trees and power poles. Other tornadoes were confirmed in Oklahoma and Texas, along with significant straight-line wind and hail damage. Farther north and well outside of the risk area, supercell thunderstorms unexpectedly developed along western Lake Erie and moved southeast. These supercells produced multiple tornadoes in Ohio, including 3 that were rated EF2. One caused extensive damage in the Point Place neighborhood in Toledo, Ohio. 122. Severe weather also continued to impact the Gulf Coast and the southeast later that night into the early morning of June 16, where many instances of damaging winds, large hail and isolated tornadoes were reported. 123. An EF2 tornado hit Pensacola Beach, Florida, heavily damaging homes and tossing boats. Flash flooding in Pensacola, Florida, was caused by 9.23 and 234 m of rain in 5 hours, and strong straight-line winds blew a tree into a house, killing 1 person. Flooding triggered a flash flood emergency. 124. 2 weak tornadoes touched down in the Delaware Valley, and more weak tornadoes touched down in Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and Virginia. By June 16, the storms had left 664,000 customers without power along the Gulf Coast. 125. Although more rounds of severe storms occurred on June 17, tornado activity was limited to a few weak tornadoes in Texas and Colorado. Later that night, however, a powerful mesoscale convective system, MCS, pushed through north and central Oklahoma. The Oklahoma City and Tulsa metropolitan areas had widespread wind damage, with the latter seeing wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour. The MCS produced multiple weak tornadoes near Tulsa during the early morning of June 18. The SPC issued an enhanced risk for parts of the Deep South later that morning, and strong tornadoes touched down in Arkansas and Mississippi. An EF2 tornado hit the rural community of Prairie View, Arkansas, where chicken houses, garages, and outbuildings were destroyed and many trees were snapped. Later that night, a destructive EF3 tornado near Lewin, Mississippi, severely damaged or destroyed numerous homes and industrial buildings, flipped vehicles, flattened large swaths of trees, killed 1 person, and injured 25 others. 126, 127, scattered tornadoes occurred across the same region on June 19, including a high-end EF2 that caused significant damage and injured 6 people in Moss Point, Mississippi. A total of 88 tornadoes were confirmed in the outbreak sequence, which resulted in 4 tornado-related deaths, along with 1 indirect fatality. 128.
The patient finds it easier to drink with a straw. Unwrap the straw and place it in the fluid. If patients have difficulty swallowing pills, have them drink some water or juice before putting the pills in the mouth. Because some medications are absorbed through the skin.
In late June, multiple rounds of significant tornadic activity swept across the Great Plains, Mississippi Valley, the southeastern and northeastern United States, Manitoba and Ontario the day after the previous outbreak sequence came to an end. A high-end EF3 tornado struck western Matador, Texas on the evening of June 21, causing devastating damage, 4 fatalities, and 15 injuries. Homes along the path of the tornado were leveled or completely swept away, with debris scattered across fields. Businesses were flattened, trees were entirely debarked and stripped of branches, and significant ground scouring was documented. Extreme damage to vehicles occurred along the path of the tornado, with cars thrown long distances and mangled beyond recognition. 129, 130, 131, 37 tornadoes touched down in Colorado that day, 27 of which were spawned by one slow-moving supercell. A severe hailstorm moved through the Denver metropolitan area, causing nearly 100 injuries at the Red Rocks Amphitheater before a concert. 132. Severe weather in Colorado postponed a Major League Soccer game between the Colorado Rapids and Vancouver Whitecaps. 133. A severe squall line produced a record wind gust of 97 miles per hour, 156 kilometers per hour, at George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, surpassing the record set by Hurricane Ike. 134. On June 22, isolated weak tornadoes occurred from Colorado to North Carolina. A rain-wrapped EF1 tornado moved through the Denver suburb of Highlands Ranch, causing widespread tree and roof damage. An outbreak of strong tornadoes occurred on June 23, with tornadoes reported in Wyoming and Colorado. This included an EF3 tornado that destroyed a farmstead and debarked trees near Grenada, Colorado. An EF2 tornado struck the North Antelope Rochelle mine in Campbell County, Wyoming, injuring 8 workers. A rain-wrapped EF2 tornado near Hawk Springs caused significant damage to power poles and outbuildings and flipped a semi-truck, injuring the driver. Another EF2 tornado in Nebraska prompted the issuance of a tornado emergency as it passed near Scottsbluff and Gearing, destroying a house, tossing cars, and injuring 1 person. More tornadoes touched down over Minnesota and Iowa on June 24, including an EF2 tornado that passed just east of Mahnomen, Minnesota. A few more strong tornadoes occurred the next day in Indiana and Kentucky, which included an EF2 tornado that struck Rusk, Indiana, killing 1 person and injuring another when it destroyed a cabin. Additional weak tornadoes occurred across a wide area on June 26 before the outbreak ended, including several tornadoes confirmed in Ontario. 117 tornadoes were confirmed in the outbreak sequence, which resulted in 5 tornadic deaths, 3 non-tornadic deaths, and over 120 injuries. 135.
Sis, we're gonna have to get 2 of them big things of sugar because sugar go fast up here. Oh yeah, I was already waiting.
An isolated but intense EF3 multiple vortex tornado touched down in Nash County, North Carolina on July 19. The tornado first struck the town of Dortches, completely destroying several mobile homes and snapping many trees and power poles. The tornado exited Dortches and continued to the east-northeast, destroying a house, significantly damaging numerous other homes, and flattening a metal truss electrical transmission tower. As it passed near Battleboro, it partially destroyed a Pfizer warehouse and tossed multiple semi-trucks parked nearby. The tornado weakened as it moved away from Battleboro, and dissipated after it crossed into Edgecombe County. 149, 150. The tornado had estimated peak winds of 150 miles per hour, 240 kilometers per hour, reached a width of 600 yards, 550 meters, and a total path length of 16.5 miles, 26.6 kilometers. 149, a total of 38 homes were damaged or destroyed along the path, and 16 people were injured. The National Weather Service office in Raleigh did not issue a tornado warning until the tornado had been on the ground for 6 minutes, which was questioned by some meteorologists on social media. The NWS defended its actions, noting that the warning was issued before the tornado did its most significant damage. 151, after law enforcement reported that up to 50,000 pallets of medicine had been damaged at the Pfizer facility, Aaron Fox of University of Utah Health stated that there could be shortages of certain drugs while the company dealt with the situation. 152, FDA Commissioner Robert Califf later announced that since hospitals already had the drugs or the drugs were on their way, no significant supply impacts were expected. Pfizer said that since the tornado damaged storage areas but not production equipment, any shortages would be minor. 153. The tornado caused over $300 million, 2023 United States dollars, in damage. 154. From August 4 to 8, an unusual late-season severe weather and tornado outbreak sequence affected multiple regions of the United States, producing numerous tornadoes that struck the eastern United States, the Plains, the South, and the Midwest. 4. Several of the tornadoes were strong and damaging, including an EF2 tornado that hit the town of Bering, Missouri on the night of August 4, causing extensive damage to homes, businesses, and other structures and injuring 2 people. A long-tracked EF2 tornado touched down north of Pawnee, Illinois in Sangamon County 2 days later, damaging or destroying homes and causing extensive tree damage as it passed near Kincaid and Taylorville before it dissipated near Assumption in Christian County, almost an hour after touching down. Later that night, 3 simultaneous tornadoes, one of which was rated EF0 and 2 of which were rated EF1, caused considerable damage in and around Paoli, Indiana. On August 7, a high-end EF2 tornado hit the west side of Knoxville, Tennessee, badly damaging some homes and an apartment complex. As the storm system brought hundreds of damaging wind reports and produced many weak tornadoes throughout the northeastern United States that day, 155, a low-end EF3 tornado moved through southern Lewis County, New York, striking the town of Turin and causing significant damage at the Snow Ridge ski resort at the end of its 16-mile, 26 kilometers, path. 156, on August 8, multiple storm chasers documented a highly visible EF3 stovepipe tornado that looped over its path multiple times outside of Yuma, Colorado, destroying well-built farm buildings and equipment, snapping large power poles, and severely damaging a house in rural Yuma County. Multiple other tornadoes touched down in Colorado that day as well, including an EF2 tornado that snapped power poles and damaged irrigation equipment near Idalia. 157, 158, 159, overall. This outbreak sequence produced a total of 54 tornadoes and injured 2 people, but didn't cause any tornado-related fatalities. However, the severe weather did result in 2 non-tornado-related fatalities in South Carolina and Alabama. 160, 161. Multiple tornadoes impacted portions of southern New England on the morning of August 18. 3 tornadoes touched down in Massachusetts, including an EF1 tornado that struck North Attleboro in Mansfield, snapping many trees and knocking over an air conditioning unit on the roof of a building. Another EF1 tornado snapped or uprooted trees and caused some roof damage in Weymouth, and an EF0 tornado caused minor damage in Stoughton. In Connecticut, an EF1 tornado downed more than 100 trees and damaged 2 homes as it passed near Windham and Scotland. The strongest tornado of the day touched down on the outskirts of Scituate, Rhode Island, producing low-end EF2 damage as it snapped or uprooted numerous large trees in a wooded area before it lofted and dropped a car on I-295 in Johnston, injuring the driver. The tornado toppled many additional trees onto homes in North Providence before it dissipated. 162, it was the first F2, EF2 tornado in Rhode Island since 1986. 163, overall, a total of 5 tornadoes were confirmed. In addition to the tornadoes, flooding from the system shut down I-91 in Connecticut, and a nearby hotel parking lot flooded. 164, flooding created standing water along the Grand Central Parkway and Long Island Expressway in Queens, and resulted in ground stops at LaGuardia and Newark Liberty International Airports. 165. A severe weather and tornado outbreak occurred across parts of the Great Lakes and southwestern Ontario during the evening of August 24, including tornadoes that impacted the Grand Rapids, Detroit, and Cleveland metro areas. A strong EF2 tornado that passed near Williamston and Weberville, Michigan prompted a PDS tornado warning, tossing vehicles and killing 2 people as it moved along and across I-96. The tornado also flattened large swaths of trees in wooded areas, destroyed large barns, damaged multiple homes, scoured crops in farm fields, injured 4 people, and caused $75 million in damage. 166, 167, 168. A high-end EF1 tornado struck the Grand Rapids suburb of Comstock Park, where a small business was destroyed, several other businesses and homes suffered considerable damage, and many large trees were snapped or uprooted. 169. Weak tornadoes also caused minor to moderate damage in the Detroit suburbs of Canton, South Rockwood, and Gibraltar. In Ontario, 2 tornadoes touched down simultaneously and moved through the Windsor area. 170. The first was an EF0 tornado that moved through the west side of Windsor, downing numerous trees and branches, removing roof shingles from homes, and damaging fences. 171. To the east, an EF1 tornado collapsed barns, snapped power poles, damaged grain bins, downed trees and branches, and removed roof shingles from numerous homes as it passed east of Tecumseh and struck Elmstead before dissipating. 172. Numerous tornadoes also touched down in Ohio, including a high-end EF1 tornado that blew most of the roof off of a church in eastern Cleveland. An EF2 tornado caused significant damage to industrial buildings as it moved through the Cleveland suburbs of Warrensville Heights and Bedford Heights, while a high-end EF1 tornado snapped or uprooted numerous large trees in Mentor. A brief low-end EF2 tornado completely destroyed a large barn near Middlefield as well. In the early morning hours of August 25, the severe storms moved into Pennsylvania, producing an EF1 tornado that downed trees in Connellsville and along the Youghiogheny River. An EF2 tornado impacted the community of Mill Run, where significant damage occurred at a local campground, countless large trees were snapped in wooded areas, and 6 people were injured. 173. Overall, the outbreak produced 26 tornadoes and resulted in 2 tornado-related fatalities. Severe flooding and damaging winds also affected much of the region, and 3 deaths occurred after a weather-related vehicle accident. 167. Another person was killed in Michigan when a tree fell on a home in Lansing. 174. The storms cut power to over 700,000 customers in the Great Lakes region. 175. And another 20,000 customers lost power in Ontario. 170. Combined estimated economic losses reached $880 million. 176.
Okay, anyways, a large storm system moved through Florida, spawning several tornadoes in the early morning hours of October 12th. A waterspout offshore of Clearwater Beach moved northeast and made landfall
Alex,
in
I need that charger to charge up my headphones.
partly tearing through roofs off an apartment building
You
and
just your finger up in me.
low ending EF2 rating. Soon after, another strong EF2 tornado moved through Crystal River, tearing a roof off of one home and collapsing an exterior wall.
Tornadoes of 2023. This article is only available in this language. Add the article.
Yeah, never mind.
A large storm system moved through Florida, spawning several tornadoes. In the early morning hours of October 12th, a waterspout offshore of Clearwater Beach moved northeast and made landfall in Dunedin, partially tearing the roof off of an apartment building and earning a low-end EF2 rating. Soon after, another strong EF2 tornado moved through Crystal River, tearing the roof off of one home and collapsing an exterior wall. Later in the morning, another low-end EF2 tornado touched down in Palm Coast, unroofing one home and flipping a car. 4 other EF0 tornadoes were also confirmed during this event. 4. A severe weather and tornado outbreak struck portions of the southern United States on December 9th, especially the state of Tennessee. 177, an EF1 tornado impacted portions of Weakley County, Tennessee, including Sharon and Dresden, causing 3 injuries, 178, before causing significant damage in parts of Rutherford and across Gibson County. 178, 179, an EF3 tornado struck northwest Clarksville, Tennessee, and surrounding areas of Tennessee and Kentucky. 180, 181, 3 people were killed, 62 were injured, and at least 20,000 people lost power. 182, a 4th victim succumbed to their injuries on December 16. 183, a strong EF2 tornado prompted a tornado emergency for Hendersonville and Gallatin, Tennessee, after it struck Madison in northern Nashville, where heavy damage occurred and 3 people were killed. 184. The tornado also injured 3 people elsewhere. 185, 186, 187, 188. More tornadoes occurred the next day, including an EF1 tornado in Wake County, North Carolina, west of Garner. 177, 18 tornadoes touched down during the outbreak. 4.
Alex, come here, baby.
Okay, if you guys enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Peace.